Welcome to Speed Scene Live TV, the only show dedicated to the sportsman racer. Brought to you by Curry Rear Ends, Hedman Hustler Headers, M&H Tires, Aeromotive Fuel Systems, and TheFoat.com. With your hosts, Diana-Mite, Bruce Barker, Scott Lucky Hudson, Alex Roggio, Bob Beck, Bryant Layton, with Donnie Couch and Dar Hawthorne.
Oh, yeah, and it's another Tuesday night. Yes, you are live with Diana-Mite. And wouldn't you boys and girls like to know what we've been talking about before the show?
Man, that pre-show is fun.
If only the mics were on, I would be in trouble. That's what Lucky says, and that's who's next to me. Yes, Lucky is in studio tonight.
If only the mics were on, Diana-Mite would be out of a job.
Ooh, would somebody come and take me off the air? Boo-hoo. We have Bruce Barker back there controlling the controls.
Hi-ho.
And he's the one that keeps me whole and safe. And, of course, we have Bob Beck, our car show enthusiast. Or what was he called earlier? A gremlin or a sheep? I don't know.
Papa Smurf.
Yeti.
I thought Papa Smurf was appropriate. The blue light there.
The blue light in the background. You know, what the heck?
You know, Diana-Mite, I think we should introduce Brett Big Swag. You know, normally we wait with guests for a little later, but, you know, he's part of the family. Let's bring him in at the top of the show.
Okay.
Wow.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
That's right. That's what you get instead of money.
Thanks for
Our respect.
You get our love
Listen,
and our admiration.
respect and admiration
Yes.
from the likes of you three is awesome.
Well, we want to let everybody know that this Saturday, Lucky's going to be at the Edelbrock Revved Up for Kids car show, and that's going to be at Vic's Garage. Where's that at? Lucky, is that out in Torrance?
That's out in Torrance. Come on down and see me. I'm going to be giving away stickers and stuff.
Bob, you're going to be out there, aren't
I'm
you?
going to be out there probably right across from him.
And you
guys,
guys-
AAA booth.
Are you guys going to be waving bye to the Toyota headquarters there in Torrance?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, wishing goodbye to them and
yeah.
all the 9,000 jobs that are going to go with it.
9,000.
Well, there's 50 companies affected.
Oh.
And so far, most of those are moving, so we're losing all those jobs.
You know, that's what happens when, you get those advertisements from Texas and it says, come to our state and bring your company with you.
And they obviously have never been there during the winter or summer.
Or the summer.
I spent a lifetime down there for 2.5 years. Not that guy, if you guys are from Texas, don't take it personally. Yeah, go ahead. And anyway.
So on the other hand, people from Texas are tough.
That's right. And you know what? Tonight we're also going to talk about the High School Drags Challenge at Auto Club Dragway in Fontana. It's on May 3rd with John Force. And you can buy your tickets online at thefoat.com.
I knew
Don't
that.
miss them.
I
Yeah,
knew
that-
that's why we were seeing that
Nice segue.
John Force footage here.
Yeah, in fact, we're going to be talking with John about this event. He will be there. Some lucky individual will get an opportunity to maybe take him and line up next to him on the track and race side by
Yeah,
side.
there you go. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Do you have to be a high school student to do that,
I
Lucky?
think you do, or an alumni, which you should look into that, Diana-Mite. Now, while you're on thefoat.com buying your tickets, or if you decide to buy your tickets from some other event, because they have many of them for sale, make sure that you check out the brand new news section. They've got it right up there in the upper left-hand section of the Foat. It's a great way to see news in the motorsports community from all over. And hey, if you're not a member of the Foat yet, sign up, and then you could join the Speed Scene Live crew, and you could live chat with us during the show on the crew updater. Like I'm talking to people right now.
There you have it.
Wow.
Hey, we're going to show you tonight an install on Diana-Mite's Nova. A set of Hedman Hustler headers are going on the car tonight. We're going to watch it happen. We're going to have the guys of SHRA Radio on the show tonight as well. So that's coming up in addition to John Force.
Wow.
God knows I needed those headers because at the last race we were taking the old ones off the car. Poor Lucky did a wonderful job. Took them and got them welded up, and unfortunately I went out first round. It must have been the leak from those headers, I'm sure, because going forward I've got Hedman Hustler headers on my car, and I plan on going some rounds, maybe.
We're going to show those headers. I also want to thank Cato of Cato's Welding. He actually was at the track, had his welding set up. I took the header off, took it over, he welded it up, great to have somebody, reasonable price, great workmanship, somebody at the track that can bail you out when you need it.
Not just a movie star.
No,
with Bruce
no.
Lee, but
the other Cato. So.
Yes.
Hey,
I thought you were talking about Cato Kalin from the O.J. Simpson trials.
We want to remind everybody about the Speed Scene Nationals at Great Bend. That's going to be on June 7th, right, Lucky?
That's right. That's right. Come on down, be part of the Speed Scene Live Nationals.
Nice.
And also May 16th through the 18th, the NHRA Lucas Oil Divisional Race at Great Bend. Right, Diana-Mite?
Absolutely. Wouldn't miss it.
Now, we're going to talk to John Force in a couple minutes here, but Brett, you are going all over the world. You're going to different events. But tonight, we got some of this Kiefer's hot sauce that you're involved with. And
Salsa, Lucky.
not just salsa. This is salsa with an attitude.
Oh.
I've been a spokesman for Bad Boy Mowers for almost 11 years, and Rylan Kiefer, one of our big guys over at the company, he grew up in Arkansas. If you want something to taste good or you want something that you like, you make it yourself. And he first came up with this stuff called Kiefer's Magic Steak Dust, which is great for which I love. Listen, Magic Steak Dust.
So is it like to rub a steak rub
absolutely,
or something?
yeah, for fish, chicken, or steak. And we just put it in my green bean. My girl stuck it in the green beans the other night. And I was like, ooh, because I don't like green beans.
Yeah.
But with this Magic Steak Dust in there, it was like, woo.
It's
But he
magic.
came up with some Kiefer's salsa with an attitude, and we've had a little bit of the sweet. Let me pour a little in here.
Yeah, it's actually quite good. I had some, and the tomatoes taste like they're fresh. If you've ever had like a really good fresh salsa at a restaurant, where they've just in the kitchen, they've like cut the tomatoes up and they dice them, you're actually getting fresh tomato taste out of a jar.
Bob, would you like?
I'd love to
Bob,
try
let me hear.
Yeah.
Now,
try that. But go ahead. Yes.
Yeah.
One Take Tucker on the Fote noticed that the jar's only half full that Brett was holding. And we've already been trying it out because we wouldn't tell you, hey, try this also without trying it out. 'Cause if it wasn't good, we weren't going to go for it.
Oh, look at that! Look at that! The
Wow.
Yeti. That's how you wake up a Yeti.
There
You
you
give
go.
him some Kiefer. But
Looks like he's doing more
I
than
think-
just chewing on that
Yeah,
chip.
we hand that over
You
to
know-
sir.
We're going to try some more of this sauce. We're going to talk about it, but first, we've got an install of a set of Hedman
cool.
Hustler headers that I'd like to show. Let's get that going, and let's find out a little bit about how easy or how hard or what it entails putting a set of Hedman Hustler headers on your car. Now, on this car, we're actually using Diana-Mite's Nova. She told us about she had some trouble with her old headers. They were not Hedman headers.
Hedman Hustler headers,
right.
yes. So this should be called Even Lucky Can Do It.
There you go. So what we did was we took the car and we've been running it all year. We've got a nice baseline. We know exactly what it's running, what the mile per hour, the ET, the 60 foot. And now we're going to take this same car. We changed only the headers. We got a brand new set of Hedman Hustler fender well headers.
Ooh, pretty.
They look beautiful. They're made beautiful. I'm going to show you how they go on, and then we're going to take it to the track and test it out. So let's get into it and let's find out a little bit more about how easy it is for you to put your own Hedman headers on your car.
Now look at those ugly old ones.
Let's put on a set of really good Hedman Hustler headers. First thing, we got to yank these old babies off.
Nice car.
Nice car. Now, we don't want to sit here and watch me turn wrenches for 20 minutes. So
Check out the dogs.
I sped the video up just a little bit. Now, the dogs love to help me work on the car, and their way of helping is to chase each other in circles around the car. But stay tuned for more right here. Hey, we got some old headers on this Nova, and they really don't flow that good, and they're all rusty, and we've had them repaired a few times, and it's time to yank them. We're going to put on a great flowing set of Hedman Hustler headers. Going to improve the performance. It's going to flow the air a lot better, way better headers. We're going to put them on right now. So keep an eye. We'll put them on, let you see how they look. Then we're going to take it to the track, and we're going to give you some real numbers so you can see. We've been running this car all season. We got some baselines, We're going to change only the headers, nothing else, and then make some passes. All right, when you're taking out a fender well header, it's a good trick to turn that front wheel all the way over, give you as much room so you can move that header around inside the fender well. Now we've got a TCI front clip on here, which we love, fantastic product. So we've got a little bit more room than you would with a stock front end setup. The trick now is to determine if everything will fit in. You're going to always have to jiggle it around. That's how it is. You got to move the header around, figure out that combination, get it out of the car. Now, luckily, you know, a race car is a little easier than a street car. You don't have that air conditioning. You don't have that power steering.
Smog pump.
Yeah, yeah. But, you know, it still takes a little bit of work. You got to make sure you get everything just lined up just right.
But you're so quick.
Yeah, he must have had some of the salsa.
Or something.
He
Coffee.
had something.
But there you go. Even sped up, you can see it must have took, what, 10 minutes maybe? Let's listen. Now here's the older header. And I don't know if the camera picks up all these welds, all these repairs. They've been going for a while. But we wanted to put good headers on, so we wanted to make sure that we could put some Hedman Hustler headers on. These babies, they're out of here. Now this is a good-looking header. This is what we're going to replace it with. A good-looking Hedman Hustler fender well header. Better construction, bigger tubes, really nice thick flanges. Now here's the difference though. These are spread port. See the 3 bolt holes here? This is different than a conventional 2-bolt header. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to bolt on some adapter plates. Here's the adapter plates. Here's the hardware, gaskets. They all come with the headers. And what this is going to do, look at how big those ports are. It's going to really allow for these to flow. It's going to really help the headers. Now these adapter plates don't come with this hole. You got to cut it yourself. It does come with a small hole, but we took the extra time to match them up to the ports, so we want the optimum performance. Let's give these a try. Well, you know, these headers should really make a performance change. Now, on the Fote, we had Les say that we might have to do a jet change because it might flow better run and flow in headers. So we'll see, but we're going to run it just the way it is. Then we'll look at it and we'll see about changing the jets and that type of thing. So, well, you know, we'll find out. Now, we might need to stop for a little while, Bruce, and let's come back to the Hedman Hustler header product install. This weekend at Auto Club Dragway Fontana, the High School Drags Challenge is going on. And I think there's a Facebook forum. You could check out it. This is a great, great deal. Speed Scene Live is the official media partner of the High School Drags Challenge. And they were fortunate enough to get John Force involved in this event. And this is just such a huge deal. I recommend that everybody support it. You can buy your tickets online at thefote.com. You can race, you can support it. And Diana-Mite, have you got our guests on the phone?
I most certainly do. Let's go to line 1 and welcome John Forrest. John, welcome to Speed Scene Live.
Is John Forrest there? Is that Lucky over there?
John, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. We're so thrilled to have you involved with the High School Drag Challenge.
It's pretty cool. You know, I love a drag race. I actually stole a little vacation after Charlotte, and Robert won the race in the Auto Club Ford, and I was runner-up, and went down to St. Croix on an island for a few days, and they had a drag strip there, so I got to go out there, met a lot of great people, people that love the sport. And that's why coming out here with you guys, I think it's pretty cool, and I really like working with the kids.
Well, you know, John, you're a guy that you put your money where your mouth is, and you not only support youth in drag racing, But you brought all your kids into drag racing when they were young. You encouraged them, and now your daughters are some of the best drag racers in the industry, and it just goes to show how committed you are to getting the youth involved in drag racing.
Well, you look at the sport, NHRA now has the junior dragster. My 9-year-old granddaughter, Autumn Height, Robert Height, that drives the Auto Club Ford, his daughter, they're getting involved in it. I was just back at Houston. Robert won Houston in that Auto Club Ford, and old Forrest got spanked. I spanked myself, red light, first round. Haven't done that. Boy, it's been years. But it's all part of the game. It's what makes it exciting up against my buddy, Cruz Petragon. So he got me. But, Beckman, these racers, they taught, my daughter went to the Frank Hawley Driving School. Beckman was the teacher. And actually, Brittany, Courtney, they've all come up through it. And even my wife, Lori, went out and drove Super Cup. She wanted to know what the girls did to be able to understand what they go through. So working with the kids, it's a future for our family. We love this sport. And I got a chance to go out there on my weekend off. Nope, I'm going to Fontana. Love that racetrack. Auto Club's got involved, got great people that run it. And we're going to put on a show.
Well, it looks like a great show, and, you're an icon of drag racing. You are probably the biggest name in drag racing, but you recognize that, hey, drag racing has to continue. Even after when we don't drive anymore, there has to be new talent coming up, new guys, new girls, new people to fill those driver seats. But, the high school drags isn't just about drivers. The High School Drags Challenge also wants kids to know that there's a lot of people involved all around the driver. There's crew members, there's technology, there's computer, there's electricians, there's lighting, there's media. There's a lot of jobs in drag racing and motorsports, and we want kids to be aware that drag racing is not only exciting, but it could also be a career.
Well, what's really cool is to have the involvement. It says it's presented by the School of Automotive Machinists. And someone cares. Of course, they're building their brand, but they're building kids, men and women for the future. Drag racing, you can be a driver, you can be an owner, you can be a crew chief, and it don't matter, male or female, there's a place for you, whether you work in marketing or media or wherever. And that's what's really cool about it. And Charlie Harmon, I raced with Charlie Harmon. What's funny, when he was like 5, 6 years old, Kansas City International Raceway, just in the town of Independence, and I knew his dad, but he was just a little kid growing up, and would sit on the tailgate when I was out there getting spanked by Tom the Snake, or Don the Snake, and the Mongoose, McEwen, and to have Charlie call me, I'm so overbooked, doing shows continually. I'm on the road 40, 50 events a week. That's in between the drag race and the NHRA circuit. And when Charlie called, I had to see it. I know he does a great show. It's about the kids. I'm bringing some of my hot rods out there, my traveling road show. I ain't decided which cars. I'll bring a brand new one that has all the sponsors, Castrol Ford, Auto Club, Mac 2, everybody. I get my plugs in here too, so thank you for the time. But I'm gonna bring, my Ford Mustang, but I'm gonna bring one of my early day cars. I've redone in my museum in Yorba Linda and in Indy. I've got the original brute force car, the first real funny car that I ever I don't say I won a race, but I won some rounds. But I went to Australia in that car, set the national record. I was down there with Gary Ditcham. Just pure luck got me through it. And Gary's a good friend of mine, a great racer. Helped me along. So I'm going to bring it, or maybe the first brute force car that I burnt to the ground. What's good about Fontana is that so many tracks we've lost. We used to have Orange County. We had Lions. And I raced every weekend. That's how I made money in the early days. So I'm excited. They tell me I'm a grand marshal. I don't know exactly what all I got to do, but I think it's cool. I get to be on the start line. I'm going to be signing autographs there. I think it's Saturday between, 2 and 4, whatever they got me. I'm going to stay till I get the job done. Show my race cars, and then I get to race one of the racers there that wins the race. I guess they're going to put him up against me. So it's going to be a fun day. and I get to be out there and with the people I love, racers and fans.
Well, the fans are going to be excited to see you there. You give a lot of credence to the event by being involved. And Charlie Harmon, I mean, probably the best guy in motorsports. Anything that Charlie Harmon is involved with, I'm on board because he's a quality guy. And, hey, speaking of quality guys, we have Brett, the Big Swag Wagner, here in studio from Pastime and Monster Garage. He's a big fan of yours, John.
I'm a big fan of his.
Well, how you doing?
I love anybody that works with hot rods, with people, that spreads the gospel. And it isn't just about drag racing. Nasty, NASCAR. Okay. I had too much coffee. IndyCar, F1, the roundy cars. I just love anything that's fast.
Hey, John, I got a question.
Thanks for coming on my show.
You got it, buddy. Hey, I got a question for you. In my opinion, it's so important now. You got a lot of TV shows out there that are glorifying street racing and whatnot. But how important, as you guys have been talking about, is it to get these kids off the street and to the track if they want to race?
Well, that's really what it's all about. I know the groups coming out there to the race are new students, but the alumni's coming. If you look back 50 years ago or better, Wally Parks, his whole idea, people were racing on the streets. I did it in the early days. Whittier Boulevard, Tweedy Boulevard, but I'm talking back in the 60s. Does that tell how old I am? Boy, we don't want to know that. but the point is, the whole idea was Wally created these clubs under NHRA, National Hot Rod Racing Association. He never knew where it was going to go. They had this little trailer house that towed around the country. You can see at the NHRA Museum, and the cars of the early days. But he had an idea. It was all about working, with the Highway Patrol. That's what Auto Club's doing right now. They're working at that racetrack to help get the kids off the street and national events and racetracks around the country. We got to educate our children. I've seen the shows. They're movies. I'm a big fan of them. But when it comes to racing on the street, not a chance. I'm probably the slowest, worst driver on the street because I really do abide by the laws. But I did all that dumb stuff. And the idea is the kids have an opportunity to come to Fontana, to come out there this weekend and have some fun. But that's really what the whole concept was. Winning races, but keeping the children safe, educating them so they can educate their children, and working with the Highway Patrol and all the local police departments in the area. The Irwindale group will be there, the men and women that protect us. And so it's a great thing that they're doing.
It's great that the kids can go to the track. They got the opportunity to race, to be part of something exciting. They're safe, they're protected, they're legal. Plus, on top of all that, they get an opportunity to maybe access some opportunities as far as employment and careers down the way. I think an event like this that Charlie Harmon's got going with you involved, they should do this several times a year and get all the local high schools and auto clubs and all the community involved because drag racing is great for kids. They love it. And I always tell their parents, drag racing is great because you know where your kid is. He's outside working on the car. And, he's focused. He's got a goal. He's got something that's going to get him through life. He's going to learn some valuable lessons. And, you got to admit, John, drag racing has not been too shabby for you over all these years.
I've made a good living. I've been lucky. I've had great partners, sponsors like Auto Club and Ford and all these people that allowed me to hire people like Austin Coyle, like Jimmy Prock, Mike Neff, Dean Antonelli, Ron Douglas, Todd Smith just joined us this year with a top fuel car. Our dragster is flying. I've been real lucky. Lucky. Call me lucky. Except for that red line.
No, that's my name, John. You can't steal my name. John, I drive down the 91 freeway and I see that trailer over by your Belinda facility. And I know that that's a trailer that when you were a kid, you were living in that trailer with your parents. And I look at that trailer, and I look at the John Force compound, and I say, this is a man that has made a mark on this world.
I grew up in a trailer court. Boy, I like this guy. I made I grew up in a trailer house, 5 brothers and sisters, mom and dad. Slept with my brother's toe up my nose. That's how tight it was. You've seen the trailer house, little tiny thing.
Little.
Our TV show that we had, Driving Force on A&E. And by the way, we're working real hard with Octagon to bring the show back in the middle of the year. We've got a number of offers. We're talking to different companies like GAC and E! Channel, and a bunch of them I leave that to the agency. But when my kids saw that trailer, they cried. Like, no way you lived in that. Their bedroom is bigger than that trailer. And no, I did, but I never forget my roots, where I come from, the people that helped me. I never forget, why I raced. I had polio as a kid, tried to play football, wasn't very good. You know what I mean? Still hold the record in Bell Gardens, lost every game 3 years in a row as a quarterback. That's quite a record. I don't think anybody will ever match that.
Wow.
I said losing them, not winning them. But I loved it, the camaraderie of the guys. And now I'm in the world's biggest trailer court at the NHRA events. I'm out there. I'm with the camaraderie of teams. I have 4 teams. And I'm having the greatest time of my life. It was never about money. It was always about winning. And, in 07, we lost Eric Mellon in a crash. And that was a wake-up call. We all went home. He crashed at testing in Gainesville. And we went home and said, you looked at the trophies and nothing had any meaning. And it was like, I can't go back. What happened? Well, these cars had evolved from 200 to 330, 340, and we never changed the chassis. The chassis we always thought was a place to hang the tires, put the motor, and get the driver somewhere to sit. We built all this horsepower, but I got into the chassis business. Of course, I crashed 3 months later, but we did protect the cars for head injuries. I broke arms and legs, and we built new cars. Everyone said it was too heavy. It couldn't win. It'd be too expensive. We came back, won the championship. We worked with NHRA and Pro, the chassis builders. A lot of Ford engineering went into it. And we got better race cars today. But what I was getting at, you can never, winning's what it's all about, but safety has to go side by side. And we have the Eric Mellon Project in Indy that builds race cars, and it's always about safety.
Well, that's good. It's good that you're involved with that type of thing.
Now, we talked about, John, this is Bob Beck. We talked about the guys racing, but the girls, too. I mean, your daughters are fantastic racers and very competitive in the sport. So even the young gals can get in, and you've helped influence that.
Well, there's a lot of this Erica Anders out there.
Yeah.
Is killing them in pro stock. Of course, it all started. There was a lot of great females over the years, but Shirley was one of the big names that won, beat the boys, fought Gartlets, took them all on, and won in NHRA and Top Fuel. But no women had really never won a national event in a funny car. And that funny cars are all I ever knew. And when my daughter Ashley went into the funny car, of course, Gary Ditcham drove for me. Tony Petragon, a great driver. Gary also. Then Robert Heitz taking over the city of the Auto Club Ford. But Ashley came in, won a race her first year, a few of them. Won Indy 2 years in a row, back to back. Courtney bounced out, was Rookie of the Year, so was Ashley. Brittany won it last year. And I've been real lucky, but we give them good race cars, give them good safety, give them good crew chiefs. We train them. My daughters went through a super comp. Then they went up to A field dragster. They worked with Gary Darian that really put my kids on the map. Ashley, Brittany, and we ran 2 teams with Brittany and Courtney. And now Gary Darian runs Tom McKerna, chairman of the board of Auto Club. His daughter Megan drives that car now. So, and they're sponsored by some of Penske's. I think one of Penske's lighting companies are on it. But she's doing a great job. The women, like they are in corporate America, they are taking over. We might as well get used to it.
Well, John, in drag racing, it doesn't matter if you're a man or woman. There's no color. There's no religion. It's all about the racing, and nobody cares about anything else. It's a level playing field.
Yeah, but Lucky, they do say that the women have better reaction times, and I have to agree with that. What do you think, John?
You know what's really funny? I've done hundreds of shows over the years when we come out on Thursday before the race, and we do customer race day for, the sponsors, and they'll get in race cars, and the men get out there, they get jacked up, not all of them, but some of them, and they're out there shifting the car down, putting it in low gear, driving it, their automatics, trying to shift them in the second, and in the third. And the women go out there like they're going to the grocery store. Like, okay, I'm here. I'm just going to put it in drive. And they go out there, and the car really performs better. And I've watched so many women win those celebrity races. I've watched them, win these drag races. I think maybe because you get so... I was out there racing one day, trying to smoke the rear tires. I was driving a front-wheel drive. And I thought, what's wrong with this thing? And then I realized they said it's a front-wheel drive. I was completely wasting my time. But the process, the women just seem to have the coolness. And men think we got to get into the fight mode. I race that way, but sometimes I calm down and just try to match the girls. Because you can't complain about the women.
No.
You can't live with them, can't live without them.
Yeah, you're outnumbered at home.
Yeah. Come on, John. The women love to race. We're out there. We're putting our pedal to the metal, and we're doing the best that we can. And we do have a little bit more advantage on the light. One of the things I like about you, John, every time you get out there, you're giving glory to the sponsors. And that's one of the things that we promote here at Speed Scene Live. We always tell the people out there, take care of the sponsors that are taking care of the racers. Make sure that you're buying their products. Make sure that you're letting them know where you heard about them. It's through the drag racers, because without us promoting those sponsors, a lot of those sponsors wouldn't be heard. And John, you do a great job of that.
Well, they're the sponsors, the fans. People ask me why I race. I race because I love the competition, the camaraderie. I love the job. It's a lot of work. Don't do it for the money or for the fame. If you live it because you love it, you'll get there one day. But the point is, I do it for the cheer of the crowd. And the crowds are the ones that love you. They'll buy your products. They're very loyal to the brands that sponsor their drivers. And the truth is, you can't live without them. They're our lifeline.
That's right.
And so, without a doubt, if sponsors take the money away, I'm chasing corporate America right now. I'm lucky Robert's got a 5-year deal with Auto Club. We've got Mac Tools signed for 5 years. Pete just came on board with us. We signed a 4-year deal. And the list, Traxxas with my daughter Courtney, got a 4-year deal with them. I've lost some majors, but I've had great partners. Right now I'm chasing new ones. So I'm excited, but you're right, can't live without them.
That's right. Well, congratulations on those new sponsors. We'll look forward to seeing those on your car. And you know what? We'll promote them just like we've done in the past with your previous sponsors. Like you said, it's all about getting the word out to the public. They're the ones that are going to go out and purchase those products. Right, John?
Yep. Come out this weekend to a great race. Don't be shy. Autographs, pictures. I love to hug the babies. I'm like a politician and get pictures with the family. And I'll have my hot rods out there. We'll get pictures with the race cars. Charlie's trying to put the race cars together where I'm at. I'll be out on the start line. I want to be Grand Marshal. I'm honored to get this chance at this great racetrack out there, the Auto Club Raceway. So, hey, maybe that was my call. I'll head back to the gym. What do you think?
There you go.
I think you're right, John. Thanks so much. And of course, High School Drag Challenge. You can go to their Facebook. Just put in High School Drag Challenge Facebook. It'll pop right up. All the information's there. You can buy tickets at thefote.com. You can see John. You can support the future of drag racing. John, thank you so much for calling in to Speed Scene Live. It's been an honor and a pleasure to have you on the show.
I'll be there Saturday, May 3rd, between 10 and 2, but I'll probably be there all day. Got nowhere else to go. Love it there. So thank you for having me on. And Lucky, give me a little bit of that luck. And young lady, you girls are pretty good on that starting tree. Trust me.
Back at you, John. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, John.
Wow.
Well, you know what? I want to thank John. I want to thank Charlie Harmon. And this is an important deal that we're promoting, and we're proud to promote it.
We always talk about the next generation of racers, Lucky, and it's an honor for us to be able to do anything we can to promote that next generation of racers. We love the fact that Charlie's involved because we know it's going to be a success. Anything Charlie touches is like it turns to gold.
Well, Diana-Mite, why don't you bring up our guest on line 2, and let's ask him what he thought of John Force.
Well, let's welcome Steve to Speed Scene Live. Steve, hey, how's it going? What'd you think about the call?
Hey, guys, you had me on first. How do you follow John Force?
Well, you know,
Very far behind.
Good luck.
There's nobody that can. There's nobody that can. But the good news is, when you're looking to give exposure for SHRA radio, where's the best place to be? Right next to John Force.
John Force, yeah.
That's right. And we've got a lot of people listening to him talk, and now they're listening to you. And why don't you tell them a little bit about SHRA radio, just in case they've been living under a rock and don't know about you?
Well, I'll tell you what. You know how we started? It was kind of a strange coincidence. We were putting on some races down here in South Florida, some heads-up races, because the tracks were really just doing sort of bracket racing. Really weren't getting into the heads-up because the purses are kind of higher, and they're a little bit more financially involved in putting on a bracket race, so the tracks were kind of frowning on it. So we're putting on these races, and I'm spending $10,000, $15,000 to $20,000 advertising on local radio. And I don't believe I was getting the return on my dollar from the radio. So I said, there's got to be a better way to do this. So we started out with our internet radio show, and we advertised it at all the local tracks, so all the racers and the race fans knew we had our show. And we started advertising our little local races that we're putting on here in South Florida. Next thing you know, I get different companies and different people wanting to come on the show and talk about their race or their event. And next thing you know, we're nationwide. And I got people calling from California, from Ontario, from all over the place. Then we do a radio show on street racing, on the fastest street cars. It's not really street racing, but the fastest street cars. And I got callers calling me from all over the world. We're talking 12 hours difference in time zones, and they're calling into the radio show. I had 4,400 listeners to that show, and I said, geez, this thing really blew up. So it was kind of funny how it started and where it grew. And, you know, I don't know where it's going to go from here, but it is a lot of fun. I'm a race fan. I love drag racing. I can't get enough of it. And the show is really a pleasure for Carl and I to do. We love doing it. We love talking to the racers, to the guests, to the callers. You know, we have some interesting guests. We have some good sound bites. We have some funny stuff happen. And it's just a lot of fun to do.
Well, I was on the show just a couple hours ago, and it was a great show. You had Elaine Larson and some of the young ladies involved with the jet cars, and I know that you always have your finger on the pulse of the entire East Coast and Midwest racing scene. Have you ever had Brett Big Swag Wagner on your show?
Yes, we have. Brett's been on a couple times because he does some races down in South Florida. He's doing another one at the end of May, I believe. He's coming down here.
May 31st,
I was
big
on
man.
halftime with Brett.
Yeah, I love being on the show, Steve. May 31st, final destination, Palm Beach International Raceway. We have been promoting this, and you've been helping promote this for like 3 months now. It's going to be pretty big.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. I was telling him earlier on my show that I ran into you at the Florida Street Outlaws at Lakeland that time.
Yeah, that was good.
I come up to you and I say, Brett, I was on pastime. He said, yeah, you had that black 65 Malibu, and I was shocked that you remembered it.
You know, if I meet good people, you remember the good people. You know, when we did our show, we did 160 episodes, so sometimes my memory's a little fuzzy, but you were a good guy, and I remember the car, and glad you guys are doing the radio now and getting all, because a lot of people don't realize, and they should, Lucky, there are some fast cars down there in Florida.
Oh, I know. The Florida Street Outlaws, Joe Miller from Whole Shot Wheels is involved in that. And they've got some really nice cars out there, and I know that they're an up-and-comer, and there's a lot going on in the world of outlaw street cars.
Got to outrun the Gators down there.
Now, Steve, normally we would get a chance to talk to Michael and Carl. There's three of you that put on the show, and you guys all do a great job on SHRA Radio. How do people find your website? Where do they go?
Well, you can go to www.shraonline.com, and there's a whole row of banners across the top, and one of them is a radio show. You can click on the radio show and you can listen to it live every Tuesday from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Or you can always go back and listen to some of the archive shows, which some of them are pretty fun. There's one there with Scott Cannon Jr., and they were telling stories about the early days with Tony Christian, and there's some comments about Tony running out of the woods naked. So there's some good stories.
Do they have that on video?
And now people...
I'll tell you, Lucky and I were talking about that earlier. Sometimes you book a show and things just break, and you get people on, and some of the shows that you do by the hip are the funniest because you never know what you're going to get.
Now, people can actually call and listen to the show on their telephone as well if they don't have an internet connection.
That's correct. You can call in and listen. You can press 1 and be part of the show. We get the callers on. We have a lot of fun with the show. There's a million ways to listen to it. When you look at the board after the show, you wouldn't believe how many different ways people listen to the show. Just about every device out there is listed, and it shows you where they're calling from and how many listen. So it's pretty interesting to look at what happens after the show as well as the show.
Now, we mentioned some of the events that Brett's going to be at. What are some of the events that you guys are promoting right now, the upcoming events?
Well, we promote races for anybody that's out there that wants to do it. We just did the one on the IHRA Nitro Jam at Palm Beach International Raceway. That's this weekend. We're in tight with the PDRA, helping them promote their race, which is a new organization that replaced the, well, I don't want to say replaced, but kind of took over for the XDRL and the ADRL. It's now called the PDRA. A lot of nice guys running that. Racers are running that this time. They're not doing it for a living, and that's off to a big bang. And, of course, a lot of the local races, you know, the small tire race in South Georgia, we do a lot with Donald Long and his events. And just about anybody who wants to promote an event, they can call in, and we'll be more than happy to have them on the radio. Anything we can do to build drag racing. And one thing I wanted to tell you, I wanted to commend John Force for doing something with the kids, because that's something I really push hard with all the tracks and stuff. I try to push them into running a junior dragster program, because that's the future of our sport. And if we don't support junior dragsters, there's not going to be anybody to replace us old guys when we stop racing.
That's right. That's right. Well, Steve, we appreciate you calling in. It's always great to talk to you, and I listen to your show every week. And I want to thank you for having me on today and let me talk to you guys a little bit and tell you a little bit about how Speed Scene Live got started. And right over there, Bruce Barker, the guy that I was talking about earlier, the heart and soul of the Speed Scene Live show. And
I thought it was other organs, like, you know,
the kidney, the liver,
spleen.
You know, the pancreas of Speed Scene Live.
And where does your gas come from?
Steve, thanks a lot. We appreciate you calling in, and I wish we could talk longer. You know, John took a little more time than we thought he would, but there's no way you can shut John Force off.
No, I told him he could have as much time as he wanted, Lucky.
It was great to listen to him, and I appreciate you guys having me on, and I'm looking forward to having you on again, Lucky, in the near future. Thank you very much.
Let's do it. Thanks a lot, Steve. All right, well, you know, we're going to do Hot Rod Bob's segment now, but before we do, you know, we were tasting some of that Kiefer's salsa with an attitude.
Yeah, the sweet stuff.
And, you know, Brett, you were mentioning that this is available now. People can actually buy Kiefer salsa with an attitude.
You can go on Facebook, and I believe it Cooking with an Attitude. Cooking. Or you can go Kiefer's, Kieffers, Kiefer's Cooking with an Attitude on Facebook. I believe it's cookingwithanattitude.com. But good stuff. Good, you know, the guy, Ryland, who runs it, who started it, and who's the CEO of the company, is a big drag racing fan. So he's and they've also supported my career for 11 years and done everything for me. And when you get a guy like that, and you get a company like that loves drag racing, and they've supported my 305-pound rear end for 11 years, you know, you got to give back a little love, and it's good. The bottom line, if it wasn't good, Diana-Mite would have said something.
I would have, because I'm very honest.
You know, this is delicious salsa, and I know that you brought 3 different types. Sweet.
Yes, we got the sweet. I brought the sweet hot, and then we got the hot. Now listen, you're going to be where are we going to be Saturday? You know, I'm going to come to this. I've been I'm off
go?
Saturday. I'm going to go to this now.
Then go to Fontana.
No,
I'm going
to be at Edelbrock and Torrance. Unfortunately, I'm not able to make this due to a previous commitment.
I'm going to give you a jar.
Okay.
I'm going to give you the sweet hot because you got a little sweetness to you.
Okay.
And if someone comes, your woman told me to say that. But so if you come up to Lucky, what day are you going to be there?
I'm going to be there all day Saturday.
And just say, hey, salsa to him and smack him in the back of the head. No, just say salsa, and he will give you a free bottle of Kiefer's. And then I'm going to go to this. You going to be here, Bob?
No, I'm going to be at Edelbrock with Lucky.
Why don't you go to Fontana and represent us?
I will go to Fontana and represent Speed Scene Live. And
look for Charlie. Look for John. Tell him Diana-Mite sent you.
I will. And if you come up to me and say something, I will have 1 bottle of hot Kiefer's salsa with an attitude for you.
Nice. Free salsa. That's really delicious.
Lucky's talking with his mouth full.
On television.
For those of you who think you're hearing static over the airwaves, no, it's the crunch of the chips.
Yes.
It's the
That really is good. And you mentioned your 300-pound rear end, which I want to segue into. I understand you're building a car back east that is featuring a Curry rear end.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we're doing a project called the Schwag Project. You can look it on Facebook with the kids from North Montco Tech School in Pennsylvania and Mark Rubright Racing, who I was doing an appearance at a show, and I got to talk to the kids at the school, and they made some trophies, and I told them how lucky they were that they actually get to learn something, and I wish I would have, when I was a kid, lucky, I would have learned to do something, and it just, Bob Hunter, the teacher, said, well, if we can ever do something for you, and then I said, well, I wish I had a car, and then Mark Rubright from Rubright Racing said, I got a 90 GT you can have, and so now all of a sudden we got the kids, we got a lot of good sponsors, Curry, ATF Transmission, Whole Shot Wheels,
Wow.
The list goes on and on, UPR.
So you're going to have a Ford, you're going to race against us Chevy people?
I am going to race against you guys. I mean,
that's all right.
I don't know if I can go as fast as Lucky and
Bring
you,
them
but,
all in. Bring them all in. You might want to think about putting some headers on there if you really want to go fast.
Yeah.
Hey, we're going to finish that Hedman header clip, but first, Bob.
Yes.
You have a segment about something that's near and dear to my heart.
Yes, it is. Hi, everybody. I'm Bob Beck, and you've got Gas on Speed Scene Live, and we're going to talk about Novas. It's one of the most popular Chevrolets out. The Deuce Coupes. It's not a Ford. It's a Chevy. Now, in 1959, Chevrolet came out with the Corvair. Oh, was that a wonderful machine? So much so that the Falcon was outselling it by Ford, so Chevy thought quick, and they came out with the Nova by 1962. They gave it a whole array of engines. It was 4-cylinder powered, it was 6-cylinder powered, and until 1964, it was just a grocery getter's shoebox. But in 1964, Chevrolet stuffed a V8 in it, and hot rod history was made. The Chevy SS Nova was an amazing machine. Ooh. Now, you think about it, though, the only year that had a convertible was 1962.
And I got one.
Super Sport.
I got one,
Nova
baby.
convertible. And after that, they were coupes. They had station wagons, no SSs. They even had a 9-passenger station wagon Nova back in the day.
Wow.
I mean, they were great cars. They had a little 4-cylinder engine as the standard motor. It was 153 cubic inches with all of 90 horsepower. When 0 to 60, you could time it with an egg timer. But it was reliable and it was good on gas. As a matter of fact, that engine lived on until just recently as a Merc Marine 150 motor.
Wow.
Huh. And I saw them on a lot of street rods. They were real popular in midget race cars. Not little guys, but the off-road, the circle track.
The circle
cars.
track.
Yeah. The Chevy, too, was a great machine. They called it the Nova on the high side. The low end of the cars were called the Chevy, too. That name stuck until the late 60s, and in about 1970 they dropped the name Nova and started just calling them, or actually they dropped the Chevy too and started calling them the Nova, and most people did. A lot of people don't understand the differences between what a Nova was and a Chevy too, but there was the 100, the 200, the 3 and the 400 series of the Novas. They were all great cars. The bodies were the same, the trim levels were different, the SS being the top of the line. Now the Nova got to be so good, even the sheriff's department in Los Angeles used them as pursuit cars in their later
right?
years. Yes, they did.
You don't remember, Bruce?
I do not.
Well, he never got caught.
Yeah, it's
He didn't get pulled over again until they started going to the
please
Mustangs.
don't tell me they had the 4 doors as their
Oh,
cars.
yes, they did.
Oh.
But they had the heavy duty suspension. They had the 350 motors. They were quick.
I'd take one right now.
Oh, yeah, they were good. They were stable cars. Now, in the Novas like you guys had, there was the L79 option at one point with the 327. Lots of horsepower, 4-speed. They were quick machines. But L79s, well, those are a little temperamental, so they went to the 396. Now, when the 396 went away, it became a 402, but they still called it a 396 because they didn't want to confuse people. It didn't. And it went away, though, as the emission standards came in. However, Nicky Chevrolet, in their infinite wisdom, took the 396 motors out and stuffed them full of 427. So if you ever see a Nicky, or not a Nicky, a Yenko.
Yenko.
Nova.
Not to be confused with Yeti.
Yeti, and all those guys. But the Yenkos with the 427, he was a dealership that made performance cars, and you can't do that anymore like they were doing. But they pull out the 396s and stuff in 427s, which really wasn't that hard. It was the same basic block, but he rated them at 450 horsepower. The Nova, a great car. It's been around since 1962. Now, unfortunately, towards the end of its existence, it was a joint venture with Toyota and Chevrolet, and they were not sure what to call it at first. They figured they'd take the first part of Toyota and the last part of Chevrolet, and for a while it was called the Toilet. But that never really came to fruition. And the last Chevy, the last Nova was built in Fremont, California, the same plant they're building those electric things right now, but it was a joint venture with Toyota and General Motors. The Nova, a very popular car, great on the racetracks, great on the roads too.
Wow.
Well, Bob,
Great segment.
Great segment. The great American auto scene, that's gas with an attitude. Just like salsa with an attitude. Only less gas.
Well, if you eat enough of the salsa, you got... Never mind.
Yeah.
Hey, Bruce, let's go back to me putting a set of Hedman Hustler headers on Diana-Mite's Nova, because now that you know more about the Novas and you're all impressed with what a nice Nova this is that this pretty young lady drives, it kind of makes it more impressive to see what happens with the headers in it.
And it gives us more time to eat chips and salsa.
Yeah.
And now here's a close-up of the, we put the adapter plates on to run the spread ports. Now, these adapter plates, the hardware, the header bolts, everything came with the headers, bolted right on, no hassles. I did cut the ports a little bit to make them to match the cylinder heads because I want them to flow. And, of course, you can see the dogs are still helping me and do the header install. But we went ahead and bolted on the adapter plates. Then we took the headers, bolted them in. I think on this side I might be taking the old header out on that side. I did one side and then the other. And, you know, the Hedman Hustler headers, they make products available for street cars, for smog cars. They've got the carb sticker, the California Air Resource Board. Let's see what I got to say here. Now I pulled off this old funky header. I don't know if the camera can pick up right here. It's actually burning holes through some old welds. All right, this is the hard part. Let's get her in.
Better not scratch it.
Wow.
They're so cool.
You know, it's there's always a little jiggling involved with
Do you
these
have someone
fender-
hiding underneath there grabbing that for you right now? Or
No,
you're just doing
no.
that by yourself?
It's just me. Although I do have a trick where I like to stick a couple pieces of wood, you know, just to kind of hold the end up while I'm bolting it in. Mm-hmm. But you might see them later in a different camera shot. You might see some pieces of wood sticking out.
Now, I know Hedman Hustler headers have been a big part of your show for a while, quite a while.
Absolutely.
So, pretty awesome.
There you go. Not that hard at all. Slipped right in. Still got to bolt it up, though.
Ooh,
Brand new header bolts,
Oh, those are pretty.
gaskets.
Now,
It all comes in the kit.
elbow me. Isn't there a trick to taking that wheel off, Lucky?
Well, I showed earlier where I turn the wheel to the angle to give you more room, or you can just take the whole wheel off. You know, I did take the wheel off just so that when I filmed it with the camera, you got a better view. One thing I do want to mention, though, is you'll notice I got a little jar of anti-seize. Anytime you put a metal bolt into an aluminum head, you got dissimilar metals, put a little anti-seize on there, and you'll really be happy later when you go to take it apart.
I've never heard of that. Anti-seize, what's that? Just like a lubricant?
It's like a lubricant. Bob, you're probably an expert on anti-seize.
Oh yeah, yeah, and even on cars too. We
Hello.
we learned about it on the OEM side, on the factory side, using that the hard way. I mean, a lot of people, when we went to aluminum heads and such, were not using that. And even in hot rodding with the Ford flathead V8s, with all the Edelbrock heads and the Edmunds heads and all the aluminum heads that came about in the hot rodding days, people didn't think about anti-seize. And after they changed the spark plugs a couple of times, there were no threads left because the spark plugs would gall and get stuck in the cylinder head. So the anti-seize compound, it's a silver compound. You put it on the threads, works great, makes things easy to come apart later on, and it doesn't damage the aluminum parts.
Slide in and out real easy,
That's it, yes.
Dang, stop it, you guys.
Hello. Happy birthday.
Now, once again, this video was sped up just so that you didn't have to sit there and watch me
That looks
turn
awesome,
wrench.
though. Look at that.
Wow,
How
look at
pretty
that.
that is.
Look at how
fits.
beautiful that is.
And
Beautiful.
Look at the
Yep.
clearance behind the wheels.
Who would have known that you are such a stud announcer, a stud broadcaster, a stud drag racer, and now stud mechanic?
I can turn a wrench. Why? Because I have to. Because I break stuff. But you can see how nice it fits, and it looks great, and I'm sure it's going to flow great. All right, there you have it. All done. Headers bolted right up. My favorite part about Hedman Hustler headers, every bolt hole lines up to the bolt hole on your motor. None of this, let me file the hole. Let me get a drift and try to line it up. Let me struggle because the bolt's going in crooked. Forget about it. Hedman Hustler headers. They make them right the first time. They make them last. They look great, they flow good, and they go on right. If there's a bolt that, you know, for whatever reason there has to be close to a tube, they give you a little bit of clearance there so that you can get a wrench in. They think about guys like you and me. They know we're going to put these things on with our own dirty, grimy hands. They know that we're going to be turning wrenches on race cars. So they make them fit right. Made in USA, Hedman Hustler headers. Built right here in the United States since the 1950s. Still built in the United States by Americans. Hedman Hustler headers. Forget about all the other brands. Forget about the imported stuff. Buy the good stuff. Buy it once and forget about it. Hedman Hustler headers.
Wow.
Now, the best part of the job, let's fire this baby up and hear how it sounds.
Look, the wheels magically appeared on
Hey,
it.
wait, whoa.
That wheels, you know, I had to put them back on. I'm not going to start up a car.
I don't think I could get in that car. I'm just saying.
Well, it's Diana's car, okay?
Well, the seat slides back and forth.
Yeah.
With the roll bar goes.
Now, while we hear this car run,
So quiet.
Brett, where are you going to be next? Because where you're going, there's going to be the sound of cars just like this.
Man, I got so much going on. June 5th, 6th, and 7th, I'm going to be in Jonesboro, Arkansas for the Dare to Ride program. We're going to dare to ride. There's some bike stuff going on. June 14th, going to be at Mountain Park Dragway, Clay City, Kentucky for the Father's Day Butch Reed Memorial Race. Then, of course, where else am I going to be? I'm losing it.
Well, you're going
May
to Fontana
31st.
next weekend, right?
Is that
There you
next
go.
weekend or this
coming
weekend?
This coming weekend.
I'm going to go hang out in
Saturday.
Fontana this Saturday
With John Force.
with John Force.
and Charlie
I'm
Harmon.
going to get to meet those guys. And then May 31st, going to be at the PBIR for the Final Destination with James Gruskin, 666, the Beast they call him. You know, it's going to be some Big Rick, and we're going to have some good time out there racing.
Well, the next time you guys see Diana-Mite at the track, she's going to have this car with these headers. So go over, check it out, listen to it, take a look at them. You know, really a cool deal. Maybe we could just leave that running while we do what's going on.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Man, I'm sure wishing. I just put a 430 back in that Lincoln. 2 years at the rebuild shop, it's back in. I'm thinking about Hedman's. I don't know. We might have some clearance issues. That's a tight fit, but boy, those babies make that motor sound good.
You might start me to drinking with that hot rod Lincoln.
I'm already drinking. I got you beat.
Now, this weekend, I'm going to be at the Edelbrock Revved Up for Kids car show, and Bob,
Yes.
you will be there too.
I will on Saturday.
And May 3rd, the High School Drags Challenge at California Dragway Fontana with John Force. And
I'm going to go. I'm going to give Charlie a call. I'm going to go show up for that. How can you not go now after John put such good plugs in and talked about the thing, not go show up for the kids and have a good time?
I think you should go out, meet John, and let him know that you were talking to him on the show, and you'd
and I need a motor.
I
need a used motor out of one of his
He's probably
shops.
got one.
Nice Ford motor.
They're clearance probably quite well, I think.
Everybody, don't forget to buy your tickets online at thefote.com for that event coming up at the Auto Club Fontana track. May 3rd, Union County Dragway Points Race plus Pioneer Senior Classic.
Also, May 2nd through the 4th, Autometer Northern Class Nationals at National Trail Raceway in Ohio.
May 3rd, US 43 Dragway, DBR Racket Race, and Pro Outlaw Mods.
Oh, I got to get the list up here. We got so many things going on.
May 3rd and 4th, Richmond Dragway, 10,000 Grand Slam.
Wow.
And NMCA West returns to Pomona May 15th through the 18th. We'll have Cammy Edelbrock live in studio to talk about that race as well.
Nice. Well, we've got a great show coming up next week. Donnie Couch will be live in studio with sprint car champion Damon Gardner. Now, Damien is a USAC sprint car driver that said, hey, wonder if I could go 200 miles an hour at Bonneville in a sprint car.
Ooh, doggies.
Well, we're going to hear what happened when he did or tried to do.
Yeah.
We're going to find out all about it. He's going to be live in studio, and he's one of the best sprint car drivers out there. And hey, I want to thank Brett for coming in. I would like to thank Kiefer Salsa. That's salsa with an attitude, just like Big Swag. He's got an attitude. This stuff is delicious.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having us in. Oh, May 10th, Wichita. I'm going to be in Wichita.
Wichita KS.
I'm going to be down there for Bad Boy Mowers at Wichita Tractors. Going to be down there. So come see me.
And when you're down there, ask them about that salsa.
Yeah.
Can't get it away from Lucky now. But we want to thank everybody for watching the show. Make sure you come back next Tuesday. Till then, take good care.
All right. Man, how much does good care cost? Absolutely nothing. Sort of like this show. Coming up next. I don't know where I was going with that.
I don't know.
There was a period at the end of the sentence, and I'm happy it just came.
Yeah.
So,
Aren't we all?
All right. Hey, Bob, good stuff on the Novas.
Thank you.
And look, we'll see a bunch of you guys next week, I'm certain, right here at Speed Scene Live. Hey, including you. And by the way, if you want to stay around, we've got the encore presentation of the show coming up next. By all means, stay around for that and for yet more fun and frivolity right here at Speed Scene Live.
Speed Scene Live TV, the #1 online motorsports TV show. Brought to you by Curry Racing Rear Ends, M&H Tires, Hedman Hustler Headers, Aeromotive Fuel Systems, and thefote.com.